everyone, Mindless Me here, taking a look at Offworld Trading Company. We're not going to be doing a full-on review right now because the game is in early access still. However, we can still look at it, see what you guys think about it, and see if it's worth the price that they're asking for it right now. So, what is Offworld Trading Company? Well, Offworld is essentially a economic-based RTS, or real-time strategy game, that is a little bit different than what we're used to seeing in the real-time strategy market. We're used to seeing base building, playing a little bit of seek and destroy, wiping out an enemy base, and winning a game. In Offworld, you actually win by acquiring as much money as possible and buying out your competition. Now, again, it's a little different than what we're used to seeing, but to be honest, it's actually kind of refreshing to see a different type of RTS hit the market. The market is very saturated with RTS games, so anytime something mildly original comes out, it's kind of exciting for us. So I'm going to kind of run through what you're seeing on the screen here and give you an idea of kind of what the game has to offer starting out immediately. First, I want to mention that when you start a game, the map is not explored. You actually have this little area here, and then you have to explore it via these little explorer things here. When you click on the map, it'll explore a hex area, and then when the resources are found, it'll tell you what they are, and then you can kind of go spread out from there to get your base set down. As you can see, we are on a decent sized map. Map size in this game doesn't really matter as much because it is an economic based RTS and there is no combat. So the map size really just lends to more resources and things like that for you to gather and utilize. And as you can see up here, this is all the resources that are on the map currently and their tier, which you can see they have different little tiers. Like this is like a tier 1, that's tier 2, tier 3, and obviously the tier 3 will give you more resources. So depending on which of the 4 factions that they currently have you want to play, you will kind of want to pick the most advantageous spot for your base and really where you're going to get the most bang for your buck, so to speak. To kind of run through those, we have the expansive, which is, I guess, human. We'll get an extra claim for each time we upgrade the base. They need 50% less steel, which can actually be pretty nice because steel is rather rare just right at the beginning. You have robotic. They're kind of nice because their base does not require food, water, oxygen, anything like that, and it's rather handy. They also don't require glass for upgrading. However, the problem with them is they are a little power hungry, so you kind of have to be conscious of that when you're playing, that you're going to require a little more power than usual. The scavenger, they're handy because they use the black market more often, and you can actually gain a decent advantage that way if you play it correctly. And then of course the scientific, which they are kind of nice because their technologies and stuff do research faster. They get reduced damage on the sabotage attacks, which is very, very handy if you have a sabotage heavy game. With the AI you may not. Now once you get into the competitive multiplayer, probably. And then over on the right hand side you can see this is me and then the other 3 AI here. And this is our stock price. And the stock price starting out is set, I'm not sure if it's set on difficulty. I honestly have not paid much attention. I actually need to check on that. But your stock price starting out, you can buy as much of it as you want to, but it is going to go up each time. And every time you buy it, you do buy 1,000 shares. So the idea of the game is to purchase as much of your own stock as possible to drive up your stock price, so that way it's harder for them to buy you out. But at the same time, you need to try to buy out or help buy out all of their stock, and then it'll actually give you the option to buy out the company. And then once you buy out the company, then it'll come basically under your wing, and then you can start working toward your next acquisition or the next company to buy out. This is a pre-recorded game. I didn't want to attempt to try to explain this and play it at the same time, so I'm just going to go ahead and speed it up here, and then you should see my base pop down here anytime. Okay, so on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see a lot of information. This is the market. This is where all your resources and things like that are going to come from, or you're going to sell to. The market price will fluctuate depending on buying, selling, behaviors like that. Even though the market is infinite, the market price will change. And then up here at the top, you can see you have funds, which you start out with a set amount, and you basically have to found your base and do everything from that. And then debt that you're going to accrue at some point or not accrue, depending on how you want to play the game. And then your claims. This is kind of the way that the game balances out a lot of things. You have a set number of claims when your base is founded, or your company is founded, and you have to use those to try to get your foundation started in order to get money and acquire more. So you can get more claims by upgrading your base, which will give you a set amount. You can do auctions for claims, which will pop up in the middle of the screen here. And then you can also purchase them through the black market. Now, the black market ones will go up every time you purchase one, so they can get fairly expensive. But you essentially use those to try to get as much of an advantage as possible. As you can see, everyone pretty much tries to grab the resources that are available. If you can grab adjacent ones, you actually get more. That one right there will give me like a standard amount, and then if I grab the one next to it, it'll give me an additional 50%. And then if I came over and dropped another one right here, it would actually give me an additional 100%. So the game actually does reward you for having adjacent mines or gatherers or production. And as you can see, there's an auction for a plot. Now, to kind of help you get a little bit more advantage over your competition, the game does offer some utility type buildings. The first one is the Pleasure Dome, which is just kind of a passive income generator. Doesn't generate a whole lot, but it's enough to where you can kind of tell. You have the Patent Lab, which allows you to buy out patents and stuff like that to help your progress. You can get things like allowing these little guys to teleport instead of actually driving all the way over and then offloading the materials. They'll just teleport from whatever structures you have gathering and then straight into your base. And then we have the Engineering Lab, which it allows you to upgrade your buildings and in turn upgrades production and things of that nature. You have the Hacker Array, which is kind of one of the in-game type game-ending buildings, I guess you would say. What it does, it actually allows you to artificially inflate or deflate the price of the goods over here to the left. And it's kind of nice because, let's say you have 1,000 aluminum, and right now, where I've been selling so much of it, the price of it is at $1. It's not even really worth it. I mean, you're looking, you know, if I sold 100 of it, you know, I'm not getting anything, versus, you know, if I sell 100, you know, you kind of have to be conscious of this stuff all the time while playing. Well, with the Hacker Array, I can artificially inflate the price of it up to 30, 40, or higher, depending on how many times I want to use it, and then I can just sell it off and get a ton of cash. Now, you are allowed multiple of these, which I don't know if they're going to balance out later, because I have seen people build multiple hacker arrays and actually completely dominate games with them. So we'll see how that goes. And then you also have the Offworld Market, which is another in-game type building. And what it does, it actually allows you to sell off 100 of each resource to an off-world market, and it gives you a lot more money for it. However, it does take a little time for it to sell, and with the last patch, it actually requires 20 aluminum to actually sell off-world. But as you can see, they give you a little bit of everything on producing different types of resources and things like that that you'll need. For doing a lot of the patent stuff, you are going to need chemicals, which you can actually just purchase. Any of this stuff is just straight out buyable, I guess you would say. So you don't necessarily have to produce it. With this playthrough, I did just kind of do a little mix of everything just to kind of get a little supply. Sometimes on higher difficulties or playing against other people, you may need to specialize because it will actually give you a little more of an advantage. Let's see. Oh yeah, we got the black market. So the black market is this little nice feature that pops up every now and then, depending on, you know, what race you are. If you're scavenger, obviously you're going to get to use it more often. And it will also give you a little bit of an advantage over the competition. As you can see, there's a mutiny going on right now with that one. So you can purchase EMPs, which are obviously going to put a little bit of a hamper on what the competition is doing. You can also get power surges. Oh, and pirates, which those aren't really part of the black market, but they're still very useful. I'm actually going to wait for that one because I'm going to explain that real quick. They do get kind of expensive as well.
The black market is online.
Now I just have to figure out where I use this at. So I'll go back to this until I find it. You also get underground nukes, which are actually really handy because you can nuke a resource that one of your competitors is really relying on. And, excuse my ice maker, it's kind of loud. Whenever you nuke it, let me find one that's actually pretty good. Well, okay, well, let's take this one for instance. Okay, so this is kind of a T2 or Tier 2 resource, and if we use an underground nuke on it, what it's going to do is it's going to nuke it down to its lowest level, and that way they're not getting as much resource off of it. And if they're very reliant on that resource, it may put them in the negative and actually cause them to pay debt instead of actually getting income off of it. And then of course we got a mutiny, which just kind of disrupts the building or whatever that you put it on at the time. And all of this pretty much has a time limit, so it eventually goes away. And then you've got your goon squad, which the goon squad will pretty much defend a building. So if I use it on one of the buildings, it'll kind of sit there and wait for one of the competitors to use one of the other abilities on it. It actually gives me a chance to capture it and use it myself. Nope, there's the pirates. I used them up here. So what the pirates do is they wait for one of the blimps to come out of the resource gatherer and then go to the base, and it actually has a chance to capture that material for me. Let's see if it captures this one. Nope, doesn't look like it. So anyways, that's pretty much what the game has to offer at this point. As you can see, here's the patent lab, and here's kind of the different types of patents you can get to give you a little bit of advantage. Here's the hack array where you can short and do a surplus on different items, things like that. But in its current state, I honestly have to say that this is a really, really great game. This is probably one of the most polished early access games I've seen to date, and it's pretty awesome. You know, Soren and the team have done a great job of knocking out a lot of the bugs and a lot of the major issues before the game even went into early access. So really they have, if the current date stands, probably close to a year to add in, you know, really whatever they want and kind of make the game even more fun. It is a little bit different because most of the games do only last about 30 minutes, and that is a little bit different than what we're used to with RTS games, but at the same time it's kind of refreshing because I don't have to sit for 3 days and play through a game. I can just kind of sit down, you know, if I want to play a quick game, run through it, and get up, go do something else, or sit down for another game. And in that respect, it can be an advantage for a lot of people. Now, there are a few small issues I have. There's a few little issues with the AI, not the AI, the UI, sorry. And that really kind of comes with some of the different tabs and stuff that kind of pop out when you do features like right there. I tried to close it and it didn't close. But I mean, this is minor stuff. I mean, if this is the worst thing I had to deal with early access games, they could release it right now. I mean, we've seen early access games that are essentially broken when they're released, and this is anything but that. Oh, there's a Marsquake. Everything's going up. Those are awesome, by the way, because if you have a lot of resources like that, you can sell it off. But I mean, you know, like I said, minor issues. There are every now and then little bitty UI tweaks, things like that. It kind of bugs out, but as far as balance and the gameplay and things like that, it's really well done. I mean, if you really are looking for an RTS that's a little different than what you're used to, or something that's not run-of-the-mill, then I would definitely take a look at it, because you can actually find a lot of fun in this game. And there is a lot of room for improvement as far as, you know, adding in things. I mean, there's so many things that they could do with this game, and so far they've done a really awesome job. So I hope you guys have enjoyed watching, and I really, you know, hope you guys take a look at this and see what you think about it. And, you know, if you guys have any questions, you know, feel free to stop by the website and comment, or, you know, get in touch with us if you have any questions on it. Check it out. You can also visit the forums over at Offworld and talk to Soren and the dev team, and then, or stop by the Reddit that we have for the game, and, you know, chat it up and kind of see what's going on. But thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.